Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Dave Dreyer. I'm the co-founder and chief marketing officer from Starco Brands. We are a consumer packaged goods company. But enough about me. You're not here to see me. You're here to see my four guests here, beginning with Jeff Rogers, who's here with Salt. We have Brad Ross with Coca-Cola. We have Allie Smith with MSC Cruises. And we have Angie Champsaur with Church's Texas Fried Chicken. So welcome, guys. So we're going to be talking. Thank you. Thank you. Look, we all know, I know what you've all been doing for the last couple days. So come on, bring it up. Come on, guys. I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have our whip shots here. So, one of our products is an alcoholic whipped cream co-founded by Cardi. So we have some for everybody to try. But panelists, if during here you just feel like taking some shots, it's Cardi Gras today, so go for it.
Okay, so
yeah, go for it. Yes, you absolutely should. So let's get started. I've gotten to know each of you, spoken to you, and everything's super impressive. From activations, global in scope, local in scope. So we're going to run the gamut. We're really going to talk about engagement and amplification and activations. So why don't we do this? Why don't each of you introduce yourself? We're going to talk about the activation, but before we do that, just to set context, tell us a little bit about the marketing charge within your organization and your role in that specifically, and then we'll get into the activation that you all want to talk about. So, Angie?
okay.
Oh, do we just have one?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
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 Let's take one down, pass it around.
Well, you and I.
Okay. My name is Angie Champsaur. I am head of PR and earned media for Church's Texas Chicken. How many people know Church's? Yeah. What you might not know is that we have 1,500 locations in 22 countries. So we're a lot bigger than you think that we are. Our marketing play, it's all about connecting with our guests, which is ever evolving. I'm sure each of you could close your eyes and think of what Church's Texas Chicken looks like in your brain. Well, we're re-emerging. We're changing our decor. We're showing up differently. And you'll get to hear more about our activation with Malcolm Butler. But exciting.
Tell us a little bit. Just tell us what you're doing here.
Oh my gosh. Doing all the things. It's like a week-long Mardi Gras, but for churches. Well, it kicked off with Radio Row, working with the Larry Lundy Marketing Group and Malcolm Butler. Who knows Malcolm Butler? I think there was one New England fan here, maybe in the back. Amazing historic play, 10th anniversary. That's what made another reason for us to show up and connect him with churches. We're legendary. He's legendary. And so we went off to Radio Row, and we're out in the market. We've got 10 mobile billboards going out around our 10 stores in the area. We've got coupons. We've got a block party, which we'll talk a little bit more about. But, we're a challenger brand. We don't have the money to pay for a 30-second spot on the big screen. Now, I love commercials, and I love that I'm going to see your commercial. But that's not the cash we have. So how do we show up and tie to a big event, being a challenger brand? Oh, by the way, we're in Popeye's backyard. Talking about being bold in the bayou, okay? So, and you'll hear more about that. But does that answer your question?
You're good.
Okay, I hope I didn't overtalk. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Allie Smith. I work at MSC Cruises. I'm the Senior Vice President of Marketing. I'm going to ask you on Monday if you've heard of MSC Cruises, because we are obviously launching our first commercial in the Super Bowl. We are launching Thank you. And Angie, she made a lot of great points, and she said that she is a challenger brand, and MSC Cruises is also a challenger brand. But we took a little bit of a different approach, and we said, we can't compete. We can't incrementally keep spending more and more money. We have to make a statement, and we have to make it now. We have to accelerate growth today. So that's what we did. So we are launching our 60-second commercial, thankfully in the first quarter, while everybody is paying attention, leaned in, and has not had a ton of beers. So we're very happy about that. But similarly, we are a global brand. We have 24 ships, and we're extremely well known in the international market. So if you go to England, you ask somebody, have you heard of MSC Cruises? Definitely. Here, I'm charged with really making MSC Cruises a household name, which is why we chose the Super Bowl. So hopefully by Monday, there will be a lot of people who are much more familiar with us. And we have to activate in a lot of local markets, and because we have very specific port markets and very specific sourcing. So I know there's a lot of partners here, a lot of NFL teams. I've met a couple of you, and I'll talk more about it in a bit. But we have a national strategy, a local strategy, very 360. And like I said, hopefully by Monday, we will be more well-known than we were today.
I think you will.
Love it.
All right, Brad.
So good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you to Brand Innovators for hosting this. So I work for the Coca-Cola company, originally from South Africa and based out of Atlanta. We operate over 200 countries around the world. Yeah. We operate in over 200 markets around the world, and we look at it through the lens of local. We try to be globally scalable, but also locally relevant at the same time. And so what my team and I do, we're tasked with leading our global sports and entertainment business for the company. And so that's from managing and working with our biggest global or international rights holders, FIFA, IOC, Special Olympics, but then also working very closely with our markets to manage the local connections and the local partnerships. For us, it's about connecting with consumers through what they care about, and sports and entertainment is what they care about. We're very much focused about the youth, Gen Z, and this is where the zeitgeist is. So if we can use sports and entertainment as a shortcut to our consumers' heads and hearts, then we think we're in the right space and we're doing the right thing in that regard. And we've learned a lot. We've been in the sports space for many years. In LA 28 will be 100 years with the IOC. It's one of our longest standing global sports partnerships. So we've seen the breadth of being with a partner for almost 100 years and then with partners for a much shorter point of time. At the end of the day, it's all about, what's going to drive the business, how are we going to use this to connect with our consumers, and be a shortcut, as I said, to their passion points. We're here for the couple days, and I think of the Super Bowl much the way I think of the Grammys in the music space or Cannes in the creative space. The whole industry is here. And so the game itself is awesome, but if you're in sports marketing, you need to be here because all your partners, all your rights holders, all your agencies, pretty much everyone is here. So it's an intense couple of days, but I think what you can achieve in these 3-4 days at a Super Bowl, you can't achieve in like 6 months outside of it. So it's a great business opportunity to be here.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff, bring us home.
Love it. I love the title here, engagement. I've been in the engagement industry my entire life. I'm an agency guy. I used to lead an organization called Mosaic, and about 5 years ago, spun out and started my own agency. I'm very fortunate. We had Anheuser-Busch and Coca-Cola and Xbox and Kraft Heinz basically tell us, if you build it, we're in. And month 4, COVID hit. As you can imagine, being a strong engagement experiential agency, that was a crazy time. Plowed through it, and we've grown now to a 300-person agency here across North America. It's been a wonderful ride. We fortunately, recently we were named the second fastest growing agency in the world by Ad Age. So it's been a really fun ride so far in our journey. This week we're here. We're producing Post Malone's event tonight for Bud Light. Tomorrow night we're producing Stella Artois' event. You're going to see Neutral throughout the city at Shaq's and SI and many different events. And happy to be here, and thank you for Brand Innovators for having me.
Great. First question's for Allie. So listen, as marketers, we know that sometimes it's equally as important to not only engage with fans on the ground, but also to amplify the program beyond the activation itself. And I know that you have some great partnerships with the Dolphins and the Knicks. Tell us about what you do, how you leverage those partnerships, equally to engage with the folks that are there and the folks that aren't.
So when I think of partnerships, I think of it as like a 3-pronged approach. You've got the fans that are in the stadium. You've got the foot traffic of people going into the stadium and activating them there and engaging with them there. But of course, the reach is really the people who are watching the games at home. And you have to think about that because like I said, you got 60,000 people, the same people most likely going to each game. You have to make sure that you're capturing the fans as well. So when we enter into a partnership, that's what we say to our partners. So if we ever enter into a partnership with some of you out here, like, this is what we're looking for. So we have a partnership with the New York Knicks, and we have a partnership with the Dolphins. And NFL, we know, is a little bit difficult to get your branding on the field, and the Knicks, the NBA makes it a little easier for us. But I'll focus on the Knicks, and then I'll move to the Dolphins. But so in game, we, of course, we have the LED screens, we have our branding, and we wanted a moment that really engages fans. So I know it seems something not super exciting, but everybody loves the t-shirt toss. Like, you go to a game and you're like, me, I want the t-shirt. And you're like, why do I want a $20 t-shirt? But you get really into it. And we partner with the Knicks. We have these huge cannons, and every time somebody goes to a Knicks game, somebody sends me the MSC Cruises cannon. So obviously I'm making some sort of impression. It's an engaging moment. People are remembering our brand. And then a really nice reason that we like to partner with the Knicks is because they have the network, and we have the opportunity to have virtual on-court signage. So that's the way that we're reaching fans outside of the game. They're seeing our logo. And recently, we were talking to our partners, and they were like, why aren't you leveraging our IP? Like, people trust us. This is why you're partnering with us. They see you with the Knicks, and they like you more. They trust you more. And we're like, okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense, but we weren't leveraging IP. So we spent time, we've updated our end cards, we put that we're the official cruise line of the New York Knicks, and we're seeing that resonate with people. People are becoming more aware of us, and our likeness is growing. So that's how we think about partners. And then with the Dolphins, we're optimizing our plan all of the time. One of the tunnels became open. I'm like, oh my God, let's get the tunnel. Because again, it's broadcast coverage. We can activate on the grounds. We can talk to people in the stadium. We can have their logo there. But we have to make sure that fans outside are engaging with us too. So we'll activate on the ground. We'll do a sweepstakes, and then we'll do paid social with them so that we're reaching people who aren't at the game, and we're getting leads, which is a big strategy for us. So that's our approach to partnerships. I think it's a great recipe for success. And like I said, if we ever partner with some of you out there, that's what we like to see.
Awesome. And when do cruises, you were saying that they start, or they in Galveston, is that what you said?
So Galveston, we're launching in November 2025. We're expanding to Seattle, going to Alaska in summer 26. MSC Cruises is full force. We're growing exponentially in the U.S., and that's what my charge is, to really grow the brand.
So for all you cruisers out there you go.
Yeah, great option.
Excellent. So for Jeff, we're always looking to maximize our usage of, influencers, creators. Obviously, we all utilize, I'm not sure that anybody has the silver bullet, but we spoke about a partnership you did with Smart Water and Equinox, and I was really impressed not only with the partnership that you built, but how you activate it, and then how you utilize those content creators and how you broadcasted that out. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Wonderful. Yeah, so Smart Water came out with a new product last year, alkaline water, 9.5, and we were tasked to help them, with their launch. And, at its core, there was a trial component to it that, touched on, grassroots from a gym standpoint. And then it all culminated to, multiple events. But one of the biggest events was in Equinox in West Hollywood, where we brought 200 influencers to this venue for a spin class with Steve Aoki. And so if you think about the influencer community, and I was fortunate to go there. I don't know if anyone here from Los Angeles, LA area, there's a little bit of vanity in that city.
Okay, fine.
There's a little bit of vanity in that city. And it was amazing in that, probably half the individuals who came to the event, brought a videographer, brought their agent, brought an editor, and, it got incredible footage in that all the folks were posting interesting content from the spin class. And then post that, we took some of the best content, we helped edit it, we then reposted it, then we put some paid media behind it. And, the impact was spectacular in terms of overall impact for Smart Water.
So do more business in LA. That's my plug for LA. But speaking of community, which I'm obviously proud of mine, you talked a lot about your guests and how you really want to connect with them, right? And you mentioned you're here with the Block Party. You're activating Block Party. Talk to us about that and how you're activating your stores here in Popeye's land, if you will, and really the ways in which you connect and how that really drives your business and such. Here, I'll give you.
Yeah, absolutely. As Allie said, partnerships are so important, but they also have to be the right partnerships. They have to be authentic to you, so it's a seamless story that you're trying to tell. So yes, the Block Party is an important piece of this, and it's the culmination of everything we're doing this week. I have amazing team, some of who are here, helping me activate this wonderful multifaceted event. As head of PR, it's all about telling the story, right? So what's that story we want to tell? How do we connect with guests? And PR, because you're earning that media, you're getting that third-party credibility. Someone else is telling your story. So having the power to craft that narrative and reach out consumers. It's also my role to provide air cover for the ground game. So our activation is very much multifaceted. So we kicked it off with Malcolm Butler on Radio Row. And so if you go on your smartphones and go to Insta, you can go at Mac_BZ, or you can go at Church's Chicken. You'll see a video that he's done for us. He did such a great job. He did 20 interviews in 4 hours. We handed out 120 boxes of chicken to some very hungry reporters, which is great, right? And so how we weaved ourselves into celebrating a legend when we're also a legendary brand is we wanted to help Malcolm celebrate the 10th anniversary of his historic catch. And what better way to get into the narrative than to partner with us? So we're a 72-year-old brand. We have a legacy, but just because you have a legacy doesn't mean that you have to lean on it 100%. Our demographics are changing. Our audience is changing. How you show up is important. How you evolve that strategy is important. And so we hit Radio Row. We've got a lot of great coverage from NFL Network to the local radio show here in New Orleans, and it was a lot of fun. So going into this week, I'm attending this event. I'm telling you our story, and I'm really proud of what we created. And then you're going into the Block Party. Leading up to the Block Party, we have 10 stores within the New Orleans DMA. And so a great way to advertise is send mobile billboards. What is that? That's a huge sign that just drives around. And it's amazing. It feels like Las Vegas has hit New Orleans when you see the churches, mobile billboards. Not really, but I wish we had the little lights, but we'll go with what we got. Scrappy brand. But we have the mobile billboards going out. We have street teams hitting the street. So if you think more like guerrilla marketing, the great thing about the firm that I'm working with is that when their street teams go out, they're not just handing out coupons. They're saying, how do you feel about churches? Have you been to churches lately? Do you like it? And you have to have that ability to hear what they're saying to you, whether it's good, whether it's bad, and take that criticism, take that positive feedback, do something with it. But one thing about churches is we're known for being on the block. We've been on the block, around the block. We're not in the best of neighborhoods. We're very much a part of our community. I think, Georgia, you were telling me a story. There's lots of fires in LA, and it's really sad. But there was this one time where there were fires, and the community actually stood around a church's Texas Chicken to protect that building because it meant so much to them, right? So meaningful engagement with street teams. The Block Party. Malcolm Butler is going to come to our Block Party. We're going to have games. We're going to have music. We're going to just have a lot of fun. And to be honest, our core demographic, they have a household income of $40,000 a year. They look for value, but an abundance of food to feed their family. They cannot afford to go to the Super Bowl. So how do we bring the excitement of the Super Bowl to them with really great food and say, hey, you may not have a ticket to the Super Bowl, but you have a ticket with churches, right? And we're going to take care of you, and you're going to have a great time because we care about you. And so partnerships are key. Being able to be disruptive in the way you show up, plugging into these big events. Here we are, and we're connected to one of the biggest events. And while some strategies like a commercial, which I can't wait to see, are you giving out free cruises? Because we could talk about that now. No. Yes, to afford the commercial, right? But no, it's whether you're going out with commercial, which I can't wait to see, by the way, or doing fun experiential, like, activations, or, being in Pepsi world with Coke. I love that. I love Coke. My husband used to work for Coke. So I'm a big Coke fan, so I'm glad y'all have presence in here. But yeah, it's just showing up in the way that's authentic to you, and getting a little piece of the fun that's going out there. And I'm proud of what our team has done.
Perfect. Okay, Brad, I've spent most of my career hating Big Red as a Pepsi and Dr. Pepper guy. It's just
Put
true.
these panels together, right?
Yeah, exactly. I do love Coke Zero, though. Anywho, but you mentioned. Is it time?
Coke Zero with.
Oh, it's my mom's favorite drink. Are you kidding? But in any case, you mentioned activations that you do on a global scale, right? The Olympics for almost 100 years and such. But it really comes down to community and such. So can you talk about it from a global scale and things that you do on a commute to build really connect with communities?
Yeah, look, I think operating in 200 plus countries requires you to be scalable, but at the same time, you can't do it without being locally relevant. And our bottling system that we have in our countries that we operate in are grounded and rooted in the communities that we serve every day. And so if we're going to make something succeed from a global level, it's got to be locally relevant and make sense. So the role that we play when bringing sports programs to life, for example, we partnered with FIFA to bring the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour by Coca-Cola to life. And we started that in 2006. And in 2006, we took it to 26 countries, and it was a test run. FIFA didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what was going to happen, and we figured it out. 2010, FIFA World Cup came to South Africa, and it was truly Africa's FIFA World Cup. And so in doing that, we took the trophy to 52 countries across the African continent. Never been done before. Taking the prized icon of sports and giving communities and consumers the opportunity to see it was not only democratizing the sport, but bringing it to people around the world that just would never be able to get to the FIFA World Cup. In 2014, we took the tour to 90 plus countries around the world. That year, we actually teamed up with Globo. Globo is the biggest sports broadcaster in Brazil. And so part of the amplification piece was around how do we not only take the trophy to 90 countries and give them an opportunity to see it, but for the host country to make sure that they're already rallying behind it. And having Globo with us on the plane, going to 90 countries around the world was just incredible. And so we've continued to build, and we're already planning now for 2026, which is going to be the biggest FIFA World Cup in history, the biggest sporting event in the world. You're going to have 104 Super Bowls in one go. That is how big the FIFA World Cup is. You have 5 billion viewers tuning in. And so the role of amplification within that becomes so important, because you don't have 5 billion people going to the stadium. You want to make sure that those folks have an amazing experience, and as a brand, we're there to enhance that experience. But at the same time, what are we doing with our consumers around the world and bringing it to life? So this notion of amplification has always been there for us. And it's always been part of our DNA and what we do. But I think with technology and the advances in technology, that connection and that ability to connect with consumers has become a little bit easier and a little bit more difficult at the same time. The cut through, how you make it relevant, that's the challenge. But the platforms, the tech stack, the evolutions, that's giving you the opportunities. So you have to figure out where the balance is and how to make that work. But amplification for us, I was actually telling David, we've actually just hired a new person in my team who's in charge of live experience amplification. That's his role. And he's figuring out, just as we are, what the next evolution of this looks like. How do you make sure that you're enhancing the physical experience on the ground, while at the same time bringing that experience to millions and billions of consumers around the world in the most effective and authentic way possible. So it's a fun time to be in sports, to be in brand and sports marketing, and figuring out how technology is evolving and how the sports ecosystem is growing, how the convergence of music, entertainment, gaming are all coming together at the same time. And it's a wonderful opportunity and space to be in right now.
Yeah, when you told me about that role, one of the things we were talking about is everybody thinks that, whether it's Coca-Cola or Pepsi or what have you, everybody has it figured out. It's like, no, we're constantly innovating, right? And nobody has a silver bullet. And we were just, Ian and I were just talking about the fact that, how do you stay on top of new tech and how do you amplify? And it's tough, right? So it's really impressive that you've identified that hole and has filled it with such an important role. I mean, it's extremely valuable, and I don't think that there's no silver bullet, but it's interesting that you've dedicated a resource to that.
I mean, as we discussed, we've been around for a while, but we're still learning a lot, and we have not figured it all out. I promise you that now, and anyone who says they have, they're lying. This is a space that is just moving at warp speed. And so you have to test and learn, and you're going to fail, and if you do fail fast and figure it out and move on. But no one has it all figured out. That's what makes it interesting. But if you know what your values are, you know what you're trying to achieve, you understand what the brand is bringing to the ecosystem versus just taking from it, then that's a key piece for us. What are you contributing and giving back to whatever ecosystem you're borrowing equity from? If that is something that you're looking at, then all the other fancy footwork can be pushed around that and built around that. But we're going to continue to learn, and we're going to continue to make mistakes. I'm also telling you that now. That's okay, as long as we know, where we're trying to get to.
Absolutely. Jeff, you and I were talking about partnership selection, if you will, right? Sometimes you do get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, right? But you're here with Post Malone and Bud Light. We've talked about Equinox on the other side, whether it's a brand or a celebrity or influencers. Talk to us a little bit about the process, how you go about it, areas that it seemed to have worked. I think Post Malone's a great example of something that's worked. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think reach and relevance is critical, right? I think in our industry of putting on experiences,
sure.
Just the experience alone, doesn't drive a strong enough ROAS unless you drive enough reach through the partnership. And then you have things like influencer and content and all the different elements that, builds that ROI. If I think about Post Malone and Bud Light, a truly authentic partnership in that they've been together, since I think it's 2018, 2019. They did this dive bar tour, and it was, he's a big beer guy, and he loves Bud Light, and so he's a real authentic member of the AB family. And obviously, I think you all would have seen it. It's been a tough couple of years for Bud Light, and for them, they wanted to get back to their roots in terms of where their core consumer is in the Midwest and the South. And ironically, last year, Posty launched a country album, and we actually helped him launch that album with a night in Nashville with Post Malone when he was launching his album. And it was an incredible event that we had a national program, both online and locally, that led to the event. And then the amplification of it was Posty actually produced his first video from that event. Awesome. And pounded it across social. It was a wonderful song about his 2-year-old daughter and when she's going to go down the aisle, and it was a total tearjerker and really emotional. And it was just an amazing performance for all the wholesalers and the winners and the partners, but then great amplification post.
Great. And Allie, I know you have some. Are we allowed to talk about the celebs that you might see in your spot? It's already out there? Amazing. So you've got Drew Barrymore and you've got Orlando Bloom. Talk to us about working with them, what it was like to select them, that process, and then maybe some other things that you might be doing with them other than spot.
So Drew Barrymore and Orlando Bloom are amazing. They were honestly a pleasure to work with. Our brand symbolizes European style and American comfort. That's what we're bringing to Americans. We've got this European heritage, but we're building ships that are very relevant to the American market. So we were obviously looking for an all-American woman, actress, and a European refined male actor. And there was no better pair than Drew Barrymore, who is well known by everybody, transcends generations. She has her show. She's extremely authentic. And then you have Orlando Bloom, And while he hasn't necessarily been the star of a popular show recently, everybody knows Orlando Bloom. And he runs the gamut in terms of his audience, and he's very nostalgic. And he's also married to Katy Perry, so that helps. And it just came together. And honestly, we went through some talent. And when we were working with the agency, they said by the time you make the spot, you won't even remember some of the other talent that you considered because you can't imagine it without them. And truly, I can't imagine this campaign without Drew and Orlando. And when you launch a Super Bowl campaign, and this is my first true campaign that I have launched, you have to be thinking about how you're going to engage people in the beginning, how you're going to tease. You talked about earned media, people telling your story. We got tons of press pickup, and it was tremendous, really relying on the outlets to help tell our story. We have the Drew Barrymore show. Yesterday, she just talked about MSC Cruises, and she loves cruising. You want to partner with people that want to be part of your brand. She talks about why she loves cruising. It brings people together. There's value. The cruise is planned for you. People who have families, it's not as expensive as a land-based vacation. So that's why she wanted to do it. And similarly, Orlando loves to travel. He's an adrenaline junkie, and he was super excited to be an ambassador for us. And everybody in this audience knows, I mean, the amplification that they bring is bar none. Like, Drew has a huge following, big socials, Orlando's on Instagram. And when you're looking at talent, you're looking at their socials. Like, are they going to be able to amplify this for us? And when you see that they don't have social channels, you're like, they're might do something for us on the spot, but like, we need them to amplify what we're doing. And then we need to bring influencers into it. So we launched a TikTok dance sweeps where we're asking people to dance. We licensed Holiday. We did our own original score of everybody knows the Madonna song. And we activated influencers to get people engaged. And we're going to be handing out 4 cruises, one each quarter in the game. And then, after we have the christening of our ship, and, hopefully the talent will be involved in that. And we're going to continue to tell that story. And hopefully we're going to partner with Drew. And so it's not just one and done, right? It's a relationship. And again, similar to why we partner with partners, we partner with celebrities because they have trust, they have a community already, and then they're bringing that community to your brand. And we just loved Drew and Orlando, and I really hope that you enjoy the campaign that we created.
Awesome. There's cameras set up over there. Can I audition for the TikTok dance over there?
Yeah.
All right.
She has a football, so you can
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Amazing. Brad, when we talk about partners, same kind of question to you. Obviously, you talked about FIFA, we talked about the Olympics, but when you're looking at partnerships overall, what are you looking for in a partner? What separates the good from the, I want to say bad, but I'm sure you're inundated with opportunities. Lots of things you could do, certain things you should do. How do you delineate?
When we think about partnerships, it's one, you start with the business and you start to, what does the business need, and can a partnership drive the business based on the KPIs that you've set? And if it can, then it's worth a conversation. But that's table stakes. That's just starting the conversation. When choosing a partner, it's all about the values. This goes well beyond the contract. This goes well beyond the financials that get put on the table. And this goes well beyond the deal terms. It's the values. One of the reasons we've been with the IOC for so long is there's such an overlap in the values between the Coca-Cola company and the Olympic movement. And that's why it stood the test of time. And we've worked with partners that we don't share the same values with. And even if the results have been good, it's definitely more of a short-term approach. So if you truly want to be doing something that's going to change the game, and you want to do something that's sustainable and really going to move the needle, you've got to be aligned in terms of values. Because if you're not, it's just not going to work. And what that then opens up is the ability to have conversations and discussions around things that then are not in the contract, which is where I think the value sits. Here's an example. When we started working with McLaren, the F1 team, we went well beyond what we were doing in the contract, because one of our challenges we said to McLaren was, can you come and help some of our engineers on the line in streamlining some of our processes? And so McLaren sent their engineers. These are the best engineers in the world that work on milliseconds, if you think about a Formula One team. And so you had some of their engineers come to some of our plants to try and look at the line speeds and to try and understand where could we optimize and be more efficient on the line. Now, that was not listed in the contract anyway, but that was because of the value alignment based around a shared vision of innovation. And so when we were discussing this with the partners, with McLaren in this case, we were able to align and find a sweet spot where this could come to life. I love it. I love it when our partners call me after earnings. Ooh, rough quarter or great quarter. This was interesting. This is because they're truly trying to understand our business. That's at an agency level and at a partner level. When partners then say, how can we help? They come from a perspective of understanding our opportunities and our pain points. And that's where partnership and a relationship is built, because it's predicated on really taking the time to understand where we're going, what we're trying to do. And it goes both ways. Mm-hmm. It's super important that we are taking time to understand the industries they're operating in, the challenges that they face in. Very often, client-partner relationships is one way. And we get a bad rap for it, and deservedly so in most cases. But when you try and do a pure partnership, understand where they're coming from, walk in their shoes, that's where the values align and where you see these things go 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah.
And that's our approach. We don't always get it right.
Yeah.
But it's something that we're trying to inculcate in how we work with our markets, how we work with our partners. And I think that for me is the essence of what a good partnership is based on.
Perfect. Before we open it up to questions, and I mortify Mark over here, making you all take a whip shot. We've been in New Orleans. Talk to me about, if you can, an activation that you've seen, not from your own company, but something you looked at and said, that's cool. Like, now, that's a great program. Has anybody been walking around Canal, Bourbon, you're about to go something tonight that you're excited about? Something along those lines? Maybe a Chris Stapleton concert or something like that, Allie, maybe? Anything?
So it is funny, though, because I feel like we've all just been intensely working, and it's like we're so focused on what we need to get done. Like, it's hard to kind of have that peripheral view of what else is going on unless you drive by on your way to the hotel room, because you're hopefully going to get an hour's sleep. Is that fair?
I think it is fair. But for me, it's different because, as you said, we're in Pepsi territory now.
Yeah.
This Pepsi is the NFL partner. So coming in more as a challenger than a leader, where it would be if we're activating FIFA World Cup or we're activating the Olympics, it's a very different perspective. So it's actually nice to come in and to be able to just, lift your head and say, okay, that's pretty cool. The NASA activation at the airport, I was like, what's going on here? Right? Like, that was like interesting. Went to the NFL Honors last night, and just the quality of the production, the type of awards they were doing, the way that the players were speaking, that was amazing to see. So it's great to actually be here and to not be as intense on the activation side, but to actually enjoy it as a consumer and say, okay, these brands are getting it right. And even if they are a competitor, it's like, kudos, you're getting it right. What can we learn?
That's exactly right. Exactly.
You're doing some cool shit this week.
What was that?
Yeah. Tell us about your brand activations. How are you activating around the biggest game of the year?
Why, thank you, Angie. Cardi, if y'all want to come down to Bourbon Street I just got a text as I was there. She might be a little late. But around 3 o'clock. So if you're an NFL sponsor, you celebrate the Super Bowl. If you're not an NFL sponsor, you celebrate the big game. But if you have Cardi as your co-founder, you celebrate Cardi Gras. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. So on Bourbon Street at 3 o'clock, we are celebrating Cardi Gras. So we've got beads over there. We've got our king cake whip shots. We talk about partnerships. We partnered with Fat Tuesday. So they're serving whip shots nationwide, which is awesome. And Pernod Ricard, so Malibu. So we have specialty cocktails. So we're doing co-promotion in retail stores nationwide with them. So she's going to be out there. I've got second line bands and Mardi Gras revelers and beads and shirts and hats and the whole thing. Tonight we are activating with Jeff Ross. So he's doing a roast with Jeff Beecher. And then tomorrow night's our big event, Beecher's Madhouse. on Saturday night. So those of you who know Jeff Beecher and Beecher's Madhouse, it's making a comeback. So Cardi and Whip Shots will be there tomorrow night at Republic. So yeah, we are celebrating Cardi Gras. I've got shirts on under this and the whole thing. So we are.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, let's go, Jeff. All right. Oh, I've got beads. I've got beads in my bag there. What do you think? All right, I'm going to join you in a whip shot. Anyway, I do have whip shots for everybody. It was funny. I was talking to Ian earlier, and he said, you're really passionate about your brands, and the reality is, if you're not passionate about your brands, nobody else is going to be, right? And we're in marketing. Have some fun. I mean, come on, people. Let's be honest, right? We all look at data. We look at research. Of course, you have to look at the analytics. We're not idiots, But if you can't have fun and you can't be passionate about your own brand, you can't expect anybody else to. And I'm fortunate enough. We have 5 brands in our portfolio. I would say Whip Shots is the most fun. We also have nutritional shakes, which, hey, I get passionate about those, but that's a totally different story. But I've got Cardi B and alcoholic whipped cream. If I can't have fun doing this, I don't belong in this business. So in any case, with that, I think I am going to do a whip shot, but I want to open it up to questions.
There's no question about that.
There's no question about that?
Yeah. In your car,
Yeah, by all means, absolutely. Absolutely. And I do have whip shots that you can put on your coffee. It's very good. Any questions for our panelists? Mark.
So all of you have like incredibly fun jobs, right? And I guess if you're going to be in marketing, to be able to activate around sports and culture and music and entertainment and fashion is pretty fabulous. But kind of the flip side, the analytical side, right, where you're looking at, KPIs and ROI and so forth. How does AI play into that? Just to kind of keep it top of mind.
Anybody want to take that?
I actually just use AI to test how our 60-second was faring. So we didn't have, we love the campaign, but we didn't have a lot of time to go out to the market and test before we launched. We were rushing to get it shipped and out the door. And we partner with a research firm, and recently they have a new tool, AI, where they take all of the learnings from all of the research that they've done, and they're able to scan your spot to be able to tell you, do you need more branding? Is your spot persuasive? Is it emotional? And then we are able to optimize, because our goal, right, I'm a very data-driven person, and we are a data-driven organization, and I can't go spend millions and millions of dollars and not show any ROI. So why do we do this? We need to accelerate our brand health metrics. And in order to do that, we need to look at what is the creative that we're putting in market? Is it going to resonate with people? Is it going to do the job of people remembering and increasing brand awareness? So that was just something quickly that we did, and it was the use of AI. Look, AI is what everyone's talking about. We were at CES, AI, how many versions of AI, what does it really mean? How are you gonna harness it? I use ChatGPT every single day. I just had it write copy for me. I think we all love it and use it in our daily lives, but I think it's still, we haven't been able to harness it in the way that we all want, at least for us as marketers, and we still have to look at the data on our own and make sense of the numbers. But I just wanted to at least give you something that we did within the last week to help our brand.
I think it's a great question because it's a very sexy space that we play in. And you forget that the analytics and the data drive so much of the decision making. In fact, Daniel's here with us today. He leads our strategy and integration and one of the smartest measurement people in the game. And he's built a system of strategic intelligence that we use to determine the value of a contract. Will it add value to us? How do we activate and leverage it? What are the touch points that we need to be looking at? And then we use AI to enhance that. So we haven't started it with AI, but we're certainly using AI to enhance our thinking, to take it to the next level. And then, of course, we leverage AI in the creative and the work. Our Christmas ad was all AI. So AI is here. I think it's at different levels of, interpretation and different levels of how companies and people are using it. But we definitely see it as an upside to both revolutionize and to use it as an evolution in some of the measurement work that we're doing. Shout out to Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, at Sol, we've made a lot of investments in AI. We invested in a company that is helping clients and agencies work together on brief writing, and it's a specific AI-based company called 99 Ravens. We've made another investment at a group out of Brooklyn, which is all in the content space from an AI standpoint. And, you know, we're constantly looking at my business partner, Jill. She actually came over from Google. She actually has helped both Coca-Cola, Anheuser-Busch, and others in terms of building playbooks specifically for the experiential space. And she's actually built an AI chat where she's emulated herself as Donna, and depending on what your objectives are from an awareness, consideration, conversion, what are the objectives within a given program, she literally can just spit it into Donna, and Donna spits out what are the different KPIs that you need to have based on the objectives of the program. And so, you know, we're leaning in hard, and we've made a lot of investments in a bunch of different areas.
I can't comment at this time as AI is currently tabulating my success.
All right. Any other questions? No? All right. Well, have a great rest of the week here in New Orleans. Great weekend. Thank you.